Hi, welcome to Cooking with Dr. Kim. Today I'm going to teach you how to make a dish called curtido. It is a South American kraut. It's a little spicy and zesty. It's really good on tacos and veggie burgers. It's also good with beans and peas and things like that. And you can make it and it'll keep for up to 4 months in your refrigerator. So let's get started. First, I went and bought 4 just regular green cabbages, and I went ahead and shredded them up really finely. You can do it with a knife or you can use a food processor. And so I shredded the 4 heads of cabbage, and then I also shredded 6 carrots and threw those in there as well. And this has already gotten started a little bit. You can see where it's breaking down. So the next ingredients that you will need are some finely diced purple onions. You can use white if that's all you have, but I think the purple ones give it a nice color, and they actually have a little more nutrients than the white ones. So we'll dump those in. And then next, we're going to add some lime zest. And for this particular kraut, you're going to need 4 limes, and you want to zest them before you juice them. And so you just scrape them on a little grater, and this is what your zest looks like, and it smells really good when you're zesting them. So we're just going to sprinkle that on next. Okay, and so you will need 2 tablespoons of dried oregano. If you use fresh, you can just use 1 tablespoon. But for the dried, we're going to put 2 tablespoons in, so you're just going to sprinkle that over it next. Okay. Next comes 2 tablespoons of red chili flakes. I prefer the Korean red chili flakes, but you can use any kind of red chili flakes that you prefer. So we're going to sprinkle that on. And this is a little spicy. You can dial back the chili flakes if you don't like really spicy things. Next, we have to weigh our ingredients to determine the salt content. And so I went and weighed this after I grated the carrots and the cabbage. I weighed it on my scale, and it was 11.5 pounds. And so you'll use 1 teaspoon of salt. Use Himalayan salt. Be careful with sea salt, because if you read on the package, sometimes the sea salt will have different silicone products and different things like that, anti-caking things, and that will mess up your fermentation. So just use regular Himalayan salt or Celtic salt, but be sure to read the ingredients and make sure that there's no any added anti-caking things or anything that'll mess up your ferment. So this is 11.5 teaspoons of salt. Okay, and then the next 3 ingredients are optional. I like the flavor that it gives to them. So this is 1 tablespoon of cumin. So I'm going to sprinkle that on the top. And I'm going to put 1 tablespoon of black pepper, and you need to grate it fresh. I don't like just regular pepper flakes. They get a little dull, so grind you a little fresh pepper flakes. And then next, I like to put about a teaspoon of these little juniper berries, because they'll make it crispy. And some people I eat the juniper berries after they ferment, but it's up to you, but it gives it a nice crispy flavor. And so next comes your lime juice. And again, I zested 4 limes and then used the juice as well. And so we're going to pour that on there. Okay, and so next you're going to mix it. What you want to do is mix it all very well and kind of squeeze the cabbage, because the more you squeeze it, the more of the liquid that the cabbage leaves will release, and that becomes your brine. And all this will naturally ferment because of all the enzymes in there. It's called lactofermentation, which means it gets rid of any bad bacteria, and only the good bacteria live. So it ferments it, it becomes full of probiotics, and it's really tasty. So give it a really good squeeze. Make sure you get all the way down to the bottom. Now, if you don't want to make this much, this is going to make about 4 quarts. You could half the recipe if you wanted to make 2 quarts, or even make 1 quart. You would just put the single ingredient. So you would use 1 head of cabbage and 2 carrots and half an onion. You can also add jalapenos to this. So basically all the ingredients I listed you just, divide by the number of quarts you want to make, because 4 heads of cabbage will make 4 quarts of this curtido. So we just want to make sure we've mixed up all the ingredients. And you always want to mix either in a plastic container or a glass one or stainless steel. You never want to mix in aluminum or copper or anything like that, because it can cause a reaction and make your dish poisonous. So make sure you use the right bowl to mix it in. Okay, so that looks like we've got that mixed very well. So I'm gonna just rinse my hands really quick so we can throw it in the jar. Okay, so let me get my jar. So you can sanitize your jar in the dishwasher on the sterile cycle, or you can use Star Sands to sanitize them, but make sure your jar is sterile before you get started. And so the first thing you're gonna do is you're just gonna get your jar, and I use a little funnel to help get everything in there. Now normally you would wait at least 30 minutes, ideally an hour, to do this so it has an opportunity to make some brine, but I'm just gonna do this right now just to show you how to do it. So we're going to need to use our tamper. I'm going to slide this over a little bit. Okay. This is a tamper. So you just want to push that down really, really well so it'll go below the level of the brine, which is the liquid. So we're going to stuff some more in there. The stuffing it in the jar is actually the hardest part, and you want to make sure that you don't leave a lot of air. That's why you do need to use a tamper. If you don't have one of these, you can use, a big wooden spoon, or if you've got a Vitamix, you can use the Vitamix plunger. But you can see all that liquid. You have to put a little muscle behind it. So see, we need to add some more. So I'm going to grab another handful. Stuff it in the jar. Alrighty, so let's tamp it again and see how it looks. Almost, see that liquid coming up to the surface? We're almost there. So let's add a little bit more. You want to get it right to the neck of the mason jar. Okay, so that looks perfect. And you see how orange that liquid is? That's the brine. Okay, so next I use these little pickle pebbles that I ordered off of Amazon. And these are pretty nifty because they've got a little handle on top. So you're just gonna sit that on top, and you wanna push it down enough to where that brine comes above it, above the cabbage that's in there. And next, this is a silverware. It's a fermentation airlock lid. And you can get these on Amazon as well, and they're not very expensive, but it's got a little hole in the end that lets the air out as it ferments so it won't make a big mess. And so you throw that on there, and then you just screw that little lid on, and then voila, that's your curtido. And so it just needs to sit somewhere. I still set mine inside of a bowl because sometimes as it really gets bubbly and starts fermenting, it'll sometimes ooze out the top. So sit it in a bowl to avoid a mess. And then you have to wait about 3 or 4 days and you can start eating it. The longer it sits there, the better it'll taste and the more flavor. So it can ferment actually 3 to 4 months. You can just leave it there and let it continue fermenting. Or if it starts tasting exactly how you like it, then you want to throw it in the fridge and that'll stop the fermentation process. And so when you put it in the fridge, just remove this lid, put a plastic lid on the top. And like I said, it keeps for up to 4 months once you stop the fermentation. So I hope you enjoyed it. And if you liked our video, like and subscribe, and we'll keep videos coming your way.